when you begin to make impact and you're actually doing something that's making a difference, that's when attacks come. That's when the comments, that's when the haters, that's when the trolls all start showing up.
Haters are going to hate.
Haters are going to hate, hate. Fakers are going to fake. What you got to do, you just got to shake it off. I might have said that wrong.
We're taking Taylor Swift's advice. Thank you, Taylor.
Drum roll. Today marks episode 20.
The big 2-0.
What is going on, Armchair Authentic podcast family? It is great to have you back for another episode with Rhett and Justin. Man, we are here to help you fulfill your God assignments in life. And our hope is to do that by having some real conversations about real life with real people. Now, Justin and I are really excited to jump into today's content. But before we do, we always want to take a moment and say thank you to every single one of you who have taken the time to rate and review the podcast. Man, it means so much to us. But more than that, it is really a great way we can serve those who aren't on the journey yet. Now, if you're new to the podcast, man, welcome home. Welcome to the family. We're so glad that you have found us. If you haven't already followed us on Instagram or Facebook, could I encourage you? Search Armchair Authentic. You can find us both on Instagram and Facebook at that tagline, or on X, which is Armchair Auth Pod. We're having a lot of fun. In fact, we are trying to create some content for future episodes based around your ideas, based around your questions, based around the thoughts that you're thinking right now as you're driving to work. We want to create content that serves you right where you are. And the best way we can do that is if you will join the others who have emailed us at info@armchairauthentic.com. We want to hear from you. So email us again at info@armchairauthentic.com. All right, now on to the content, a conversation with Rhett and Justin. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Here we go. Justin, I cannot believe it. Today marks a very monumental moment for us at Armchair Authentic.
It sure does, man.
Drum roll. Guys, welcome to... That is the messed up drum roll, man. So here it is. Okay, so that whole momentum going into that just didn't work the way I thought it would, but we're really excited. Today marks episode 20.
The big 2-0.
Can you believe it?
Man, it's flown by to even get here. It's crazy.
I mean, it really has flown by considering how much time and effort and thoughts and conversations we've had over the past couple of years, even dreaming about doing this podcast.
Yep.
And then once we put our feet to the ground and started really creating content that we started delivering in January, we weren't really sure how fast we would get to episode 20. If we're going to do one a month, one every other week, but here we are with this audacious goal to do one every Monday at this point. So
yeah, and it's been a lot of fun because I think we've also proven that, man, we can churn out some conversations, and we really have replaced what was always our weekly or 2 or 3 times in a week. We've pretty much surrendered it and said, we're going to do it on our recording day to keep the material coming.
It really has. People are thinking, well, man, do you guys just sit around and think of this? No, this is just an ongoing conversation, but you're right.
Yep.
We've simply tried to go, hey, let's not talk about that yet on the phone. Let's save some of these experiences so that we can try to get the most, I guess, raw and authentic emotion and expressions and just the joy that comes from hearing things for the first time.
Yeah, it's funny how it's changed things for us. Like we really, for this season of the podcast, however long, right?
Yeah.
But it's changed our interaction in the sense of we don't make the calls like we did.
Well, we still do, but we just don't. Maybe we don't spend as much time on the phone because there were moments, bro.
It's funny we're talking about it, and we keep saying to each other, "Oh, let's not talk until the podcast. Like this is too good."
Man, that is so true. I cannot think of how many times before I answer the phone call, thinking, okay, Justin's calling. I look at my watch and I'm thinking, how many minutes do I have here? Because you're the type of friend that I have in my life. I don't know if anybody else does. We're like, our conversations that we think, oh man, I just got a little 5-minute conversation. It's like, oh, that can turn into a good hour and a half, which I know people think, man, that's crazy. Do y'all have that much time? It's not that we have that much time, we make that much time because our conversations there is iron sharpening iron type of conversations. And so I guess all that to say is just the fact that, man, we are now in a season where we're thinking, hey, this is some good stuff. Let's save this so we can maintain the integrity of the moment of that conversation so we can share those with our podcast family.
And even before we do each recording, we have a little creative meeting before where we talk about talking points and even how we see it in the future. Like I think you'll notice some changes over the next several episodes that we jump into.
One of the things that I really enjoy, Justin, as we get going in this podcast, instead of just jumping right into maybe some of the depths of things that we've prayed about, is just catching up on our week. And I think it's kind of funny, back when we first started the episodes, when we were asking each other, like, well, how was your week? Like, we couldn't even get past that point. We were laughing so hard.
Yep.
But like, there has been some time go by since we've sat down and recorded our last episode.
Yeah, we were able to batch record a little bit where you're getting several episodes recorded. And we've really worked a little system where we have knocked out a couple in one sitting, which can put you a few weeks ahead. And we try to stay as current with you as we can. But yeah, we've been afforded to, because of life situations that our life with traveling and school's out for the summer, as we talked about last time, we have had the margin to allow those episodes to happen. So to be sitting together, it's good to see you again.
So good to see you too, bud. Here's something, speaking of epic, for our 20th episode, which is, in our mind right now, just trying to hit this audacious goal of doing 52. For our 20th episode, man, I mean, I'm pretty stoked to share a really cool story. So as many of you know, if you've been following this podcast journey for any length of time, you know that my son really loves professional race car racing, and he has this dream to become a professional race car driver. And even right now, as we're sitting in this home studio recording this, my son is actually racing cars right now on iRacing, which is crazy, and that's another story in and of itself. But so some friends of ours called us out of the blue a couple of weeks ago, the week leading up to Memorial Day, and they were like, hey, we know how much you love racing and your son does. We actually have 2 tickets to the Indy 500 in Indianapolis, Indiana. Would you guys like to go? And I was like, let me pray about that. Yes. There's the answer.
Easy.
But as much as I wanted to say, yes, we would love that, that's amazing, I was like, you know what? Yes, we would love to go, but let me work some logistics out, because we were not planning this within our budget. But this is like, if you don't know, this is kind of like somebody calling you up a couple days before the Super Bowl and going, hey, I got some Super Bowl tickets. Would you like to go? And the answer, of course, is, oh my gosh, yes. I don't have to figure it out. Of course, yes, I want it, And so that was our response. So I've got, by the grace of the Lord, have some relationships in Indianapolis, Indiana. Called those pastors. They're like, oh my gosh, it'd be so good to see you. Come up, stay with us. So we ended up staying with some of their family, which cut our cost of hotel expense. And so then we were like making sandwiches and trying to figure out, like, hey, we could get there. And we took a gas sipper, one of our Hondas. So anyway, we say it didn't cost us very much money to get up there. We went to the Indy 500. And all I've got to say is this: when we came back, we were on a high. And so if you're not an auto racer, please don't just zone out here, because here's what I was so impressed with. Max and I are looking at each other and we're like, how are we going to describe this? Like, how do you describe the indescribable? I mean, it really is. And I know if you've seen it on TV, it pales in comparison to being there live. Now, listen, we grew up with Talladega, 175,000 people. Daytona, probably close to the same. Indy 500, you ready for this? 350,000 people.
Goodness gracious.
Where else in the world can you go and experience an event with 350,000 people in a live environment, Justin?
A revival service in Uganda or Kenya.
Yeah.
Or Nigeria.
And so the alone, the epicness, I don't even know if that's a word. I make up words, but like the fact that you're walking into an experience that you've never experienced. Forget the racing part. I'm just talking about the mass sea of people. Mm-hmm. And it's just, I mean, you could put every major, track or stadiums in the inside of this thing, and this would just engulf it because it's that big. And so here's what I walked away with was, number one, it was an incredible experience to be around that many people. Now, if you're, not a social extrovert and you're an introvert, you're probably thinking, God knows I would never want to be around that environment. But I would challenge you on that thought, because here's why. not only was it just one of these moments where there's a ton of people, but when they began to sing the national anthem and when they began to sing God Bless America, and when paratroopers are jumping out of the sky with parachutes with American flags on, and when you have two incredible flyovers, not just one from the Thunderbirds, but two, and when you have a moment where you honor America and those fallen soldiers and people, men and women who have given their lives in honor of, our country and allowing us to experience the freedoms we have today, when they play taps. I mean, I've been to Arlington. I've been to D.C. I've experienced the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. It's incredible. And but when you experience that with 350,000 people and they ask everybody to go silent, and you could hear a pin drop in reverence for those who have given their lives. And then somebody comes on, a pastor begins to pray over 350,000 people and begin to pray over the race car drivers in Jesus' name, asking for his presence to guide and for the revelation of God to come alive on the inside of people's hearts and lives. I've never experienced anything like that. And then in addition, you've got cars going 235 miles an hour by you once the race starts. I mean, dude, I'm a grown man, in the national anthem, the God Bless America, the taps, all that. I got my sunglasses on, I'm looking straight, and I've got tears just rolling down my face.
Wow.
Because of I was just in awe of the reverence of God. I was in awe of the reverence of our country, of our nation. I was in awe of just seeing this many people in a country that's well divided right now seem to come together and unified. And I know the race is what brought people together, but it was more than that too. It was an experience like no other. And I can't tell you, I saw it on TV, I've watched it afterwards, and it doesn't do it anything. So now, so I know this is an impossible ask. Maybe it's not, but now I'm trying to put this on the calendar to do whatever I can to go back every year. If for anything, just to experience the Memorial Day activities of the race event itself with the family and that many other people. It's just a beautiful experience. I don't know how you can go to an event like that and walk away and not be touched on any level of God and our country, and how thankful we all should be for the men and women who have paid the price to create events like that. It's just incredible.
Even Max at 16 to be able to experience a bucket list item like that, something that most people don't even get a chance to go see. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and hear my heart. So grateful. I have 46 years on this planet and never experienced anything like that. And so it was a process, and it was just a God moment of his faithfulness and kind of a God wink on our life, and to look down at my boy who one day told, man, it'd be great to go to the Indy 500 one day. I'm like, yeah, we'll see. Yeah. And then God just kind of winks and goes, hey, I got you. It builds his faith, but it also, I don't know, man. And in the whole moment, the whole trip, I kept telling my son, our father's son, hey, buddy, I want you to know, this is not normal. This is God's blessing on our life. This is not, please understand, I didn't make this happen. This is God. And in every moment, through every conversation, I was always trying to point him to God in the moment so he would see that God's looking out for him in some areas of his life and his desires and his dreams. And it's just God's blessing. And I'm very grateful, very grateful.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. I mean, Memorial Day is such a great reminder. For us in the same way, it was a great week. We talked about it on one of our videos we make. I have a pool at the house, and I have tried to become the expert over the past 3 years that I've lived in this space. And I must say, I've learned pretty good. I mean, it's it is clear as you can imagine. I'm very proud of that because it was very green and sludgy at one time.
Is it a saltwater pool or chlorine?
It is. It's a saltwater pool.
Yeah.
But I've learned how to shock it with the chlorine too. So
Let's go.
I make it this cross-pollination of saltwater, chlorine, and the real deal to shock it. But
okay.
So my goal was to get it ready fully. My boys have been swimming in it, maybe a couple of weeks before, but I told them officially Memorial Day weekend, I'm going to jump in the water. And so it was like that. It was a week where a lot of swimming, a lot of grilling burgers and hot dogs. I'm a grill enthusiast.
Hey.
And so I love grilling steaks, burgers, hot dogs. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian, hey, vegetarians, I'll grill you a good old mushroom burger too. So I don't show any favoritism towards anybody.
That's great.
But But Summer, she, I'll talk more about it later, but she has been working hard on something for the past several years, really just getting after it. I worked from home, if you will, really took some days off to allow her to go spend really 8 to 10 hours of focused time of study and writing some intense things that she's writing and getting so close to the finish line. It gave me a chance to hang out with the 4 boys.
That's so
Hence
cool.
the swimming,
Yeah.
the grilling. And what I thought, I had it laid out nicely. The morning time, we're going to be electronic free. We're going to walk the dog. We're going to do all the things. We're going to be together. And then afternoon time, here's some other things. You guys go have your free time. I'm going to get some of my personal, I write a lot of writing done, maybe some songwriting as well. And you know how much time I had to get any of that done?
How much?
0, baby. 0 hours went into that because, as you know, and people listening, your day gets taken up fast with just being a dad, being a husband, and making sure that your priorities are right. So it was that week where a lot got accomplished, but it wasn't what I thought.
Yeah.
But it was a great week of my family time.
That's so awesome. You said something there about writing, and it triggered a thought in my mind about, we've been asking people to email us. We've been asking people to write. We've been asking people to comment, and we're very grateful for all those who have. But I don't know if this is a true, what's the word I'm looking for? Measurement of, are we making an impact in our world? But everybody seems to tell me, and I don't know the most how do we say this? Prolific. How about that? I don't know the most prolific way to say this. That's a big word. Oh, but
you're just being authentic.
Yeah,
right?
I'm really trying to be authentic. I'm excuse me, my Southern showing. Okay. But I've heard it said
Say it again.
Prolific.
Yeah. Now it's in the muscle memory.
Yes. So prolific way to say this. But what I'm trying to say is oftentimes when you begin to make impact or influence and people begin to start paying attention and you're actually doing something that's making a difference, that's when attacks come. That's when the comments, that's when the haters, that's when the trolls all start showing up.
Haters are going to hate.
Haters are going to hate. Fakers are going to fake. What you got to do, you just got to shake it off.
Okay.
Is that Taylor Swift? I might have said that wrong.
We're taking Taylor Swift's advice. So thank you, Taylor, for what Rhett's about to say.
Yeah, so we got our first hate comment.
Wisdom.
I don't know if it's hate comment on social media or just I don't know, a little stab at you to try to get you to respond. So somebody commented on our Facebook. The moment I saw it, my natural reaction was, I ain't got time for this. I hit it. I was like, I just clicked it off, right? And then I shared that with you, and I think you obviously saw the comment too, and we were talking about
something
it
the night before.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't have time for this. Forget this. We're a positive, uplifting, encouraging type, thing, and we're trying to create environments where people can feel the life and love and all that good stuff, right? And then I share this with Justin, and then you tell him what you told me. At this point.
Just know that we were I was walking the dog yesterday. I believe it was telling you. I was like, hey, did you see some of the, did you see one of the comments? And you were like, are you talking about the hate? I said, yeah. You were like, yeah. And I was like, oh man. I said, hey, and not to jump ahead of what we're going to say to this, but I actually, it made me, I just remember the night before I was putting my kiddos to bed and I was just kind of chilling a little.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it made me smile when I saw the hate.
You're like, yes, finally, here we go.
And so, and your response was funny because you were like, yeah, I deleted that. Or actually, you didn't say delete. You said, I hid that comment.
I hid it or whatever it was. Yeah.
I was like, oh, you hid it. Oh, okay. And I didn't think anything of it. I was with my family last night. I said, hey, boys, guess what? I want them to see that, hey, we're going through the same stuff that they go through with some of their YouTube channels or whatever they have. And so I said, hey, guys, we got us some hate mail today. They were like, oh, you did? Hey, Dad, y'all be encouraged. They're just mad because you're out doing something with your life.
Exactly.
So it was really cool to hear my boys say that.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, but I want to see it. I was like, oh, you can't. Rhett hid it. And so I'm with Summer and all my boys, and they were like, don't hide that comment. Bring it back. They were like, you can't be authentic and be hiding comments. And I said, you know what, boys, you're right. So I texted Rhett, hey, what do you think about bringing back that comment? Just let it show pure authenticity. Let them hate.
Yeah.
And Rhett wrote back and he said, I'm trying to, but it actually won't let me bring it back. I guess once you hide it.
So I don't know. Maybe it's my, lack of knowledge when it comes to certain platforms, but this platform that it's on, and I'm not going to tell you, so you can go try to search it yourself if you want to, but at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to find it, but it was on there. Okay. So, because it's not able to pull it back up. So in my defense, I should say, when I hid this thing, it was like midnight or whatever. I was so tired. I traveled all day. It's been forever. I'm done. I have nothing left in the tank. I need to rest. I see it. I'm like, I ain't got time for this.
You've been traveling cross country.
Yeah, I was because I just came off a 12-hour trip anyway, and so I was like, I ain't got time for this. So I hit it or whatever, and didn't think twice about it. And then you hold me accountable to it. I'm like, you're right. Why not? So what did he say? Because I know some of you are thinking, what in the world did he or she say? So it came from in an effort to be authentic. This is what we're trying to do.
Since you can't go find it now.
So just know this. Moving forward, we're going to allow all comments, whether positive or hate or whatever, to live on our social media as long as they abide by certain guidelines and there's not any profanity and anything else that young guys shouldn't see. But this is the kind of stuff we'll leave from now on. So if you follow us on social, you'll see that we have these little videos that we basically are just trying to keep awareness in front of people. It's like, hey man, we've got an episode coming up, and drop in. We'd love for you to listen. If you haven't, go back and listen to the other episode. Now, I don't know how else to say that.
Right.
I don't know, if you guys as our family can help us try to figure out a better way to communicate this stuff, because here's the person's response to the video, okay? Blair S. This is the person's name. So Blair S., you're getting a shout out. You said, it's true. I don't care. All right. Neither of you look authentic. You both appear to be acting. So, okay. So I don't know. I know we're Armchair Authentic. Obviously, Blair, I don't think you've listened to any of our episodes, but if you have, and you could simply say it from that perspective, okay, I'll give you that. But if you just saw the video, can you tell me how else we can get within 25 seconds? How much more authentic can we be than just standing and going, hey guys, this is coming up. We made an episode.
It's pretty
go
authentic.
Go back and listen to it.
It's pretty authentic making it, but I don't know. I do want to personally thank Blair though.
Yeah, thank you.
I do think that it's authentic, but where I want to thank you is, here's what made me smile. I took it as a compliment because she said you look like a couple of actors, and man, I have not been called an actor in 20 years since we did Easter dramas, or 25 years ago.
Yeah,
and getting to make our own fun little videos, and we aspired to be actors that sounded like such a fun thing. And I told my wife when we were talking as a family, I was like, at least somebody called me an actor. That was kind of fun, getting to relive that dream.
Well, maybe it is a backhanded compliment.
Maybe we need to make some bits and be some actors, because I really appreciated that comment. I feel like I just kind of expanded some of the depths of what we have to offer.
Well, it goes back to what is authenticity. I mean, if you got to explain something, so should we have dumbed it down and go, hey man, I mean, we're just sitting around and just thinking,
now you're acting.
We gotta drop. Right, exactly.
Now
right?
you're acting.
That's what I'm saying. This is how we talk. This is what we do. We're gonna look in the camera, try to make eye contact, and just simply just try to encourage anyway.
We have been told by, people who know what they're talking about, hey, don't respond to that. We're having fun because it is fun to take the 20th episode and address that, because people are getting hated on all the time. And I think something to take from this is, don't take yourself so serious, because it is a real thing. When you're performing or you're trying to accomplish, or you're hearing the opinions of different people, really be careful, because even little comments like that. Yeah. And I know we're making it sound silly, because that's really how we took it. Unless Rhett was mad and he deleted it the other night.
Well, but, I could care less at that point. I was like, I ain't got time for this guy. Are you kidding me? Move on.
You got Rhett without a
that's
good
just the truth.
Sleep.
Yeah, that's it.
All in all,
that's authentic, Blair.
We really do. it doesn't mess with us, and I'll welcome the feedback. And by the way, if you have things you want to suggest to make it better, we'll take any kind of feedback. If you want to dislike something and put a reason why you dislike it, bring it on.
And we would love to talk about it, not in a condescending way, but in like, hey, this person thinks we could get better here. And
we made an error.
Figure it out.
We made an error delating Blair's comment. So in authenticity,
exactly,
we're actually giving her a lot of airtime.
Her or he, I don't know.
Her or he, where normally you wouldn't be getting this kind of attention. But to make a point, we can easily struggle with the opinions and the words of man, and it can affect you in so many ways. And so we want to bring attention to that so that you don't fall into what really is, it's a trap. I may have mentioned this on one of our first podcasts. I can remember being in a room with some other guys, and we had read something on social media of it was something that it wasn't even really an influencer, but it was someone on social media. They made a comment, and someone that I'm with read the comment, and I remember him looking at that person's like account, and he was like, what does he know? He only has 1,000 followers. And the person who said that, I mean, would probably be more the influencer with, probably 10,000 followers. And that stuff can get in your heart, because I'm on the side of the 10,000 influencer over here. Like, yeah, what does he know? But it planted a seed in my mind like, well, God, I don't have that many followers of 10,000. So does that mean if I say something too, is it discounted because I don't have this many followers? So these comments that people can make, we can so easily buy into a false narrative where that inner critic really begins to disrupt inside, and it will actually put a halt to what you're trying to do. And when these haters come on, they've got nothing better to do. They want to give the hate, but they don't give constructive criticism.
Right.
I heard Brene Brown. I read a book a long time ago. I really recommend it. It's called Daring Greatly. It was a long time ago, so I'll try to remember it the way that I can the best. But there's two different kind of criticisms that you get. One is good. It's called constructive criticism. That's where the goal, construction, right? I'm going to give you this feedback so that you can be built up. Wonderful. We need constructive criticism. I'm better because of receiving loads of constructive criticism. In the same way, there's destructive criticism. That's where you're getting the feedback. It's critiquing, but it's criticizing you, and it's tearing you down, not to have any footing to be built back up. The aim of that is to make you feel like a loser, to make you feel like you are incapable. That is the difference when you're thinking of a destructive critique or a criticizer.
Yeah. So when most people that are in relationship with people want to uplift people, like in a good relationship, healthy relationship. So constructive criticism is somebody that says, hey, I love you enough to go, hey, man, I believe in what you're doing, and let's take this, for instance, man, I believe in you guys enough to know that, hey, I know you want to be authentic in this, but I don't think that particular one was authentic, but here's how I think that you guys could approach this moving forward. Right?
Yep.
That's when I'm like, can somebody please help us and let us know how we can be more authentic? Because I don't know how else to say that. But it just, the other construction that is deconstruction, if you will, of criticism, it's the more like, it's just hate for hate. It's like, I don't know you, but I just don't like it, and y'all suck. And or whatever, and you're like, well, you don't even know me,
right? You don't know me.
You don't know me. You don't know there's no context. There's no relationship. And so I think more than anything, this is what the enemy does. Like, the enemy wants to keep you from making a difference with your life, because he's going to sit there and say, well, if you take a step out, there's going to be people who won't like it. And of course, that's the point, right? Like, you have to, in order to make a difference. So for us, for the podcast specific, we'll just speak in this context. Justin and I knew that when we take this step out, we're going to make ourselves vulnerable to people like this Blair character, who I believe if we were in a relationship with, he would have never said that, because he would have known that, oh man, that's Rhett and Justin. That's exactly who they are. Yep. They're just doing the best that they can to steward that, to get people to understand where they're going. But without the relationship, there's nothing there. So the point of this conversation for me is, if you're on the sidelines wanting to make a difference, just know there's going to be people who are going to come along who aren't going to believe in it and who are going to criticize you. So you just got to get to the point where you're like me, you know what? I ain't got time for that. And you hide them, Like, that's okay to do. You don't have to do that in every context.
Right.
But because we're doing this in the context of wanting to remain authentic, we're being authentic now, going, hey, you know what? All right, we'll leave that out there a little bit.
That's right.
But we've just come to expect, I'll never forget when we planted the church. I could not believe how many people came out of the woodwork to put comments on there to troll us and go, oh, you think you're going to make a difference by planting a church, whatever. Well, you never emailed me, or you didn't respond to this or that. Or, I guess if you would have responded in less than, 24 hours, I would have given my heart to Jesus. Somebody really did that. Oh,
yeah.
They sent us a direct message and I didn't respond for 24 hours because I didn't know. I'm one man doing everything, trying to build a team and all this. And I see it and I'm like, man, I am so sorry. I missed this. I'm just now seeing it. Hope you're doing well. I'd love to meet you. Oh, no, I'm not interested anymore because you took forever to get back. I guess I would have given my heart to Jesus if you would have responded in time.
That's
and
right.
I'm like, wait a minute, this guy's playing me. I'm not playing into that. But at the same time, I was disappointed. I was frustrated, but I was also like, man, we must be making a difference because people are catching wind and word of what we're doing. And
Rhett, it's like, Rhett, are you perfect?
No.
Did you probably make some mistakes in this?
100%.
The haters do not care of your confession.
They don't.
They don't want to hear that. They want to get that rise out of you.
Yeah.
And there's a church that I'll go, actually, one of the churches that I'll go and consult. They have this phrase, and I love it. RULU. It's RULU, and it stands for rise up, lift up.
Let's go.
And I love that. I went and did a staff talk with them one time, and I heard that phrase, and I was like, my goodness, like that is good because we got to be talking and lifting up those around us. And in the same way, when I ask you if you're perfect, I know I'm not. I know the organization I'm with, and we've never claimed to be perfect. You want to talk about hate?
Yeah.
I've been a part of Church of the Highlands for 23 years. I've seen it since the first month of its existence. I'm still there. Love it with all my heart. Love it in all of our great differences we're making and in our imperfections as people. Mm-hmm. But when I hear some of the stuff come out, I want to let it irritate me. But it's just so far from anything that has truth to it that I just sit back and think, they don't know me.
Exactly.
These people don't know me. They don't know him. They don't know her. That statement's ludicrous. Mm-hmm. This is ridiculous because you have to remind yourself when you've had those same things said about you, do not let it stop you from reaching the assignment that God has put in your heart. And the enemy, deception, will do all he can to silence you, to stop you. And he will use the meanness of people who really all they're lacking. If you can look through the lenses of compassion, all these haters are lacking is walking in their true God assignment. And we can pray that they have an encounter with the Lord or the right people that will help them discover that they actually have a purpose that can also help people rise up and lift up.
I'm an overcoming people pleaser. And I'm just going to throw that out there. Like, I say that jokingly, but the truth is, like, I love affirmation. I love to receive affirmation. It just it encourages me to go on and move forward and lets me know that I'm making a difference with my life. But I have learned not to give my life over to that. Whether I receive affirmation from man, the most affirmation I have already received and receive daily is from God. And that is enough and more than enough. And because of that, I'm content. So I do not give myself over to people. So when I make decisions and making a difference, I already know that there's going to be flack. There's going to be the pushback. There's going to be the trolls, the people that are sitting there trying to, cause discord. I already know that's going to happen. But I've made my mind up to know that my identity's not in that. I'm going to make a difference. I want to move forward in who God has called me to be and who's God has called me to become, and to make a difference with my life in whatever impact that might be. And as I do that, I already know not everybody's going to agree with it. But you know what? I don't give myself over to that because I know who my God is and who I am in him, and his affirmation is enough. And if he's called me to do it, he'll walk with me in and through it. And I'll tell you what, Jesus, he is our model. Look at him. He did not come to give himself over to people, for he knew what was in man's heart and he knew what would happen. So what did Jesus do? What we saw him doing. He was criticized with everything he did, with everything Jesus did, he was criticized. But there were people with him that surrounded him, and they made a difference. And we sit here today around this table, blessed and grateful for what Christ did for us. And they criticize Christ, they're going to criticize you. So go ahead and just understand, don't let that hold you back. Don't let any insecurity or or criticism hold you back from becoming all that God has called you as a man or a woman in what he's calling you to and towards for your next step. Because I tell you what, just like Justin and I are beginning to experience with some of this, you just got to laugh it off, because here's what I think of when I think of Blair. He or she wants to be seen, right? They want to be heard, and broken people and hurt people hurt people. And so my hope is that I can empathize with Blair and go, hey, Blair, man, my hope is that you find who you are in Christ so you can be fulfilled and know that that hurt can be healed to where then you can use more healthy ways to be seen. And that is truly by walking and serving and loving and encouraging other people rather than trying to stir up strife, because there's enough of that going on in our world.
There is. And for episode 20, what we want to leave you with is go and get it. The assignment, the purpose, the plans that God has put in your life. Just like Rhett just said, go. Don't let anything stop you. We want to champion you. Don't let those idle words, the godless chatter, have any effect on you. That inner critic who wants to jump in and just from within try to tell you you're worthless and you can't do this, forget it. And it's like it says in 2 Timothy 2, and it says this in verse 16, avoid godless chatter, because those who indulge in it will become more and more ungodly. Listen to this in 17, their teaching will spread like gangrene. So stay away from the disease of the fruitless lips that will say anything that has nothing to do with truly building you up. Episode 20, we want to see you guys rise up, lift up. Thank you for listening to Armchair Authentic with Rhett and Justin. We had a great time talking with you today, especially about how haters are going to hate and the enemy's always going to hate on you to keep you from reaching your God assignment. We want to hear from you so that we can continue to help you along on your journey. Give us some topics, give us some feedback, some things you might want us to discuss. You can reach us at info@armchairauthentic.com. And we look forward to talking to you soon.